Hello, welcome back. My name is Graham McBride and I am a licensed professional counselor associate, and we're in the middle of a series about how devices and social media affect teenagers and kids. We are looking at takeaways from Jonathan Haidt's book, Anxious Generation. If you've been with us so far, then you know that the situation that we're dealing with in the world today in regards to devices and social media is quite discouraging, and these devices and tools that can be used for our benefit are unfortunately, more often than not, having negative outcomes for the kids and teenagers we all love so much in our lives. However, the good news is that there are things that we can do to support them, to help, and to make the world a better place for all of us. Today, we're going to start with what can be done by schools and those who work in schools to help confront the problem of unhealthy device use. The first thing that can be done in schools that is really easy, that would be something that is as simple as a social media post or a slide on a school website, is just to educate and inform parents and caregivers about the effects that devices have on their students. I would encourage even perhaps doing a book club with parents through your PTA or offering it through a counseling department where a group of parents and caregivers go through Anxious Generation together. If a school wanted to take things a step further, another really important change that could be made that Jonathan Haidt recommends is going to a phone-free school. For those of us that are in generation millennial or older, we remember schools without phones, but for many of our students, they have never experienced a learning environment without devices in them. This is important because the research has shown that academic performance is best when devices are completely out of the room. The performance goes down slightly when devices are in the room but put away, and academic performance is at its worst when devices are out and readily available. What's important about this is that regardless of how you do this as a school, whether it's putting phones in lockers or in book bags or completely outlawing devices in the building at all, it's important that school staff adhere to whatever they're asking students to do. Again, as we learned in a previous video, when devices are present, social interactions go down. And so if students are not allowed to have devices out or on their desks or in their pockets during class, then teachers and other staff should be required to keep theirs away during student-facing time. Many schools nowadays require the use of Chromebooks. Students across school districts everywhere are getting devices given to them. And these are, of course, great tools for learning and research and growth academically. However, the goal should be to use these as little as possible. There are so many great ways to learn that don't involve the internet. Pencil and paper are still just as good as they used to be, and we need to think more about using Chromebooks or similar devices as supplements to teaching and learning rather than the primary default way that learning is done in schools. One great way to do this that I've seen it at schools in the city that I live in is something called No Tech Tuesday, for instance. And it's a day that is pre-scheduled from the very beginning of the year, several times a year, where the entire building on the exact same day goes without technology, and teachers and students are forced to revert to how it used to be 25 years ago, for instance. It's important if you're in a leadership position in a building and you want to try this out to give your teachers a heads up. It's also important to give students and families a heads up as well so that they can just be more prepared and not shocked when these days come around. The second thing that schools could do that would make a big difference in how devices are impacting our students is to create more opportunities for free play. In a previous video, we learned a lot about the value of free play and how devices and social media are really taking away a lot of the opportunities for our kids and teenagers to get access to free play, which they really need to grow and develop healthily. An idea of what this might look like in school might include something like trying to find ways to incorporate more time at recess. It's worth noting that the average American elementary school student gets only 27 minutes of recess a day, while in a maximum security federal prison in the United States, inmates are guaranteed 2 hours of outdoor time per day. Prisoners in maximum security prisons are being given 4 times as much time outside as our children in our public schools are. This is something that we really need to consider if we're okay with, and we need to see if we can find solutions to these problems. Beyond offering longer recess with little adult intervention, other ideas that Jonathan suggests that he's seen other schools do include opening the school playground for a half hour before and after school to let students just play and have fun. Another way that they've seen schools do this is to block off the street in front of the school so that they are able to have parents and students and caregivers and teachers and staff kind of mill about in front of the school in a commons area. They put out yard games, and it's just a great opportunity for people to get some time outside, to get some time playing with different children from different ages, for parents and caregivers and teachers to connect. They do this by requiring that parents who are dropping their student off in a car do so a little bit further away from the building, and then the students walk the rest of the way to the school. The final example that I'll give that Jonathan offers is the idea of simply starting what one school calls play club. And the only objective of this play club is that the students stay after school and they just get to play. And it's entirely kid directed. There are teachers there to supervise, but they are simply there to ensure that students are safe and that if an issue does arise, they're able to step in. But otherwise, they try to stay out of things and let kids decide what they're going to do. There's no organized games or organized activities. One school tried this, and in their research, they found that their truancy cases at their school went from 54 down to 30. They found that school bus incidents went from 85 to 31. And they found that their office referrals dropped from 225 to 45. This is school-wide, and this is not just the students who were involved in the play club. The offering of an opportunity for more play made a huge difference across the school. So those are just a couple ways that people who work in schools like me can make a difference in addressing the issues that have arisen and are impacting our students and teenagers. We've got one more video coming later this week about what can be done at home to also address these issues, because it really is going to take all of the adults involved in all of our children and teenagers' lives coming together to make a real impact. So if you want to watch that video and know when it comes out, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Feel free to comment on what other ideas that you might have or things that you've seen in a school that really work. And let me know if you have any other questions or ideas that you think are worth mentioning when it comes to devices in schools. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you soon.